Hello. If you haven't noticed, I am a little bit late. But in my defense, I have been waiting for my new PC parts to arrive, because I got a new PC, and waiting really does not leave a lot of free time, so, yeah. Anyway, you've already been waiting 20 days, so I'm not gonna waste any more of your time, so let's just get to work, shall we? So first things first, after printing of course, is sanding, and usually this is where I'd whip out the old elbow grease, but I got myself a new toy. And with this bad boy I can get several hours of hand sanding done in only a few hours. Anyway, after getting it nice and smooth, it's time to give it a nice base coat of white. Now with the puppet looking especially pale, it was time to move on to the more detailed bits of the face. To start, I masked out where all the tear tracks would go, and then I painted them a nice shade of purple. Then once the paint had dried, I moved on to the blood red cheeks. Quick tip for anyone who's here for that sort of thing. If you give the face bits a few less coats of paint and allow the brush strokes to kind of show through a bit more, it kind of gives it a more realistic feel, if that makes any sense. So yeah, if you, I don't know, just do it, I guess. And of course, to finish off the mask, I whipped out my nice thick boy pleather and kind of filled in the holes with pleather. And now with the mask done, it's time to move on to the rest of the body. Alright, starting off the nice simple bit, being the torso. It's the same sort of thing with the whole spring trap, so you just want to roughly guesstimate how much fabric you need, and then you just want to wrap up each part individually. However, there are a few extra steps. So since I wanted the puppet to be bendy, you're going to need some sort of wire to hold the whole spinal column together. For mine, I used flexible filament, but you can use anything that's less than 4mm in diameter, and obviously flexible. Okay, so assembly is pretty easy as long as you do it in the correct order. You can start from either the pelvis or the head, doesn't really matter. I started from the pelvis, so I'm just going to explain it from there. Okay, so before you even encase the pelvis in pleather, you want to make sure that you've got your wire properly secured inside of it. Next up, you want to thread on the spine. If you can't tell what order they go in, then they are numbered, so that should help. And now for the chest, again making sure you do it before encasing it in pleather. Then after that you want to thread on the neck vertebrae. It doesn't matter what order, they're both the exact same. And then finally the head. And there you go, now you can kind of fill in all the gaps with pleather. Originally I was planning on making the arms and legs in the same way that I did the neck and spine, but then I realized that that's really dumb and kind of a waste of material. So it's back to sewing. Yay. After sketching up a very rough pattern, I then cut it out from pleather. Another quick tip for anyone making it at home, I recommend halving on my measurements and then making every arm and leg out of 2 pieces instead of the 1 like I did. This will just help it look like an actual round object and not what mine ends up looking like. And then obviously once you've cut it out, you then want to stitch it up, whether by hand or if you have one, use a machine. Now, if you were smart, this is where you would go out and buy yourself some stuffing, but I'm not smart, so I just cut up a lot of old scrap material. And when I say a lot of material, I mean a lot of material. And then as the name implied, I would stuff it into the arms and legs. And after finishing stuffing all the arms and legs, I then taped them up so I could paint on those weird white rings that the puppet has. You should probably use proper fabric paint, like puff paint or something. But I don't have any of that, so I just use some generic paint. And of course, after giving it time to dry, I then attach them to all the purple stubs of the torso. And there we go, it's finally done after way too long. But yay, I've got myself a puppet that is taller than me, and that makes me kind of upset.